This program contains language that is intended for mature or immature audiences. Anyone affiliated with this train wreck of a show assumes no responsibility for its content. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to hide the kids and pop the top on a cold one. Coming to you from the extravagant studio at SAA Productions in Charleston, West Virginia, please welcome the inebriated cast of Section 304.
Welcome in, everybody, to Episode 3 of Section 304, America's #1 WVU podcast. But we are already drinking beers first thing in the morning. Well, that's a good.
You got to drink beers after that game last night. It wasn't pretty.
It's a way to start off the morning. But I'm Anthony Lewis, and I'm joined by Matt Durrett.
Yeah, man.
And look who's back this week. I guess this 11 a.m. start is much better than a 9 a.m. start for some
I
of
have
us.
recovered from my hangover from last week. I'm good to go.
Cameron has joined us this week. And
welcome back, Cam. I missed you, bro.
Missed you too, dude.
Thank you.
And John Crum is here with us as well. So we've got the full cast, and we're going to dive into a couple of things, and we're going to get right into what I thought was a boring game. It's Liberty. It's hard to get excited for it. But
that being said, it can be hard to get excited for something, but I mean, it's still. You got to go out and play. It's the second week of the season. You would think these kids would still be jacked up. And I mean, that game was really just vanilla and boring. And it was bad.
Ask Auburn about that.
Yeah.
You know, and you listen to the post game, and that's one of the things that Gibby talked about last night when I was coming down the road, and because I didn't stick around for him in the press conference. But you know, you work all year to play 12 games, possibly 13. So you would expect them to come out week after week and be excited. Week 1, you're always excited, but week 2, it was a little flat yesterday, I thought.
It seemed very flat, and it also seemed like I got home last night, rewatched the first half. It doesn't make much sense to me with the play calling. You start out with Smallwood up the gut for like 8-9 yards. You get another Smallwood carry in there, and then Howard scampers down the left side and gets you into the red zone, and then we start trying to throw the ball. I don't get it, and I'm not really sure why you do that. But I'd much rather see guys diving into the end zone than to see Josh Lambert coming on to kick field goals. And we've seen a lot of that in these first 2 games. And offense has got to pick it up, man. It's really slow.
Well, but if you look at the numbers, it's not all that slow. I think it seems slow, but
I was going to say Shelton Gibson dropped the touchdown. I mean, he hit him right in the hands. He's got to make that play. That's how touchdowns become field goals.
I just think, and I don't understand in the red zone why we're still putting number 7 back there. I'm not even going to say his name anymore. He's number 7 to me from now on. I'm not going to mention his name until he gains over 80 yards total on offense. I'm not even going to mention 7's name. I don't know why he's in the game still. At one point, he actually stopped dead behind the line of scrimmage and didn't make a move and just ate the 2-yard loss. I can't fathom why he's still back there. Wendell Smallwood goes for 90 yards again this week, and why he's not getting the bulk of the carries and being our red zone guy. I don't understand. And number 7's just really, he's a problem back there for me. I think he stalls the running game.
One of the things we talked about, I was talking with another member of the press and during the game, and we were talking about the running game. And I'm going to try to sit down and watch the game a little bit. And it was something that was brought up. Cam, you brought it up. I'm going to watch the offensive line a little closer before I go and just completely dismiss Shell. I mean, his numbers were not great this week. He only rushed for 28 yards, but
he averaged 2.5.
28 yards on 11 carries. Those numbers are brutal, and that's me keeping it somewhat toned down from what I'd really like to say. But how can the offensive line allow one man to gain 6 yards a carry, but then the bigger and supposedly better of the backs comes in and can't do shit?
Well, I just, like I said, I got to watch it a little closer because I was on the field yesterday. You can't see jack shit from the field perspective. So welcome to the crew. But Cam cracks his first beer in the morning. But I definitely want to watch it a little closer. And you're right. And I'm not making excuses for him because Smallwood was able to rip off 90 yards.
Yeah.
And even Skylar Howard ran for 75. So
I was going to say that after the Georgia Southern game, Sider said that both Smallwood and Shell graded out real highly. I mean, you can't just look at stats. You don't know the situations.
Right.
I mean, granted, Shell is struggling, but I say before we totally dismiss him, there still needs to be more of a
Before you guys totally dismiss him, because 7's dismissed in my world. He no longer counts.
Yeah, I'm with Durrett on this one. He's
So you guys
not
keep
great.
giving him chances. I've watched him for a year and 2 games now, and it's never been impressive.
well, I'm not sitting in the number one position in his fan club. It's not looking good. But my opinion, and I'm with you, Smallwood should be carrying the load. But for some reason, they see something in practice, or they've got a game plan with him, and they keep it back there.
Smallwood had 15 carries to Shell's 11. So I think Smallwood is
Right now,
becoming the guy.
Well, he's toting the mail, but he's not beating him. He should have, he should have much, much more than 4 more carries than Russell Shell in a game. And the fact that Shell, it looks like, continues to come in the red zone, I don't particularly like that either. I think Wendell gets you there. Let Wendell punch it in.
I cannot disagree with you on that one. But outside of the running game looking, well, at least one of our backs looking back. Because we ran for 200 yards yesterday, it looks like.
Yeah, 172.
Well, 172.
We lost some yards because of sacks,
Right.
but overall, I thought they were fine yesterday. I mean, Shell didn't have a productive day, but like I said, I have one complaint with how we line up in short yardage situations. It seems like we line up in an I formation and go up there and pretty much run the play clock down to almost 0. And it doesn't look like we're going on a hard count. And it looks like, I mean, to me, the defense can just tee off. They know what's coming. I mean, I would like to see us kind of tempo that or run some play action out of that. And we did on the goal line. Wellman had a touchdown. That was a beautiful play. We sent Durant in motion, and he rolled out, and Wellman was wide open. So,
well, it gets back to for what I was saying earlier. This offensive line, I want to look at him. I haven't got to watch the film, but I don't know if this offensive line is getting the push. And maybe they'll start flip-flopping some guys around and work with it. We got 2 weeks to get ready for Maryland, but they've got to find the right combination with these guys. Because if you are going to play in the Big 12 and you line up in the eye, you should be able to get a yard. And you shouldn't let Georgia Southern or was it Georgia State and Liberty or whoever the hell we played.
Yeah, Iowa Southern.
Georgia Southern and Liberty push you around the field. So with that being said, we'll move on to the quarterback play. I thought Skylar looked pretty good yesterday. It was a flat, boring, vanilla game. But looking at his numbers yesterday, he had 3 incompletions in the first half. I thought we moved the ball up and down the field. Red zone production was a little bit weak, but his numbers looked pretty good as far as distributing the ball. Looks like, let's count here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like 10 guys got catches here. There's a handful of guys here that got catches.
I got to give Howard his props. That's right. You're hearing it right here. It's quite a turnaround from show 1, but kid's managing the game, man. He doesn't turn the ball over. Like I said before, I like the fact he's mobile and, he looks good. He's still overthrowing some balls, but it's week 2. I think those will come. And I got to give the kid his props. You've been in there for how many games did he get to start last year? And you've went this long without an interception. And I mean, he's looking good. He's distributing the ball well, evenly.
21 for 26.
I mean, you're looking again last night, 3 touchdowns he threw. My hat's off to him.
They were taking the deep ball away.
Yeah, they were covered 2 the whole game, which is fine. He stepped up in the pocket a couple times, and he looked outstanding in my opinion. I really like how he – and then he, on I think 3rd and 16, he got a first down with his feet. He made some plays with his feet. Yeah. My only kind of – I'm not going to say criticism. On some of those zone reads, I mean, it looked like he was settled on keeping the ball, and that's just something we're going to have to work out over the course of a season. But – I mean, if you're going to grade Howard, I'd give him an A or an A+. He was outstanding.
I thought he looked really good yesterday. One thing I thought was interesting was if you guys listen to any of the post game or I went to the press conference, Dana, when people were talking and asking him, we've been real critical of the run game 2 weeks in a row, actually leading into the season. And now this, in this show as well. When people ask, that was the first question someone asked Dana yesterday. It was about the run game. He's very dismissive. He was quick to go to the numbers, which if you look at the numbers, he was kind of, he's we ran for 172 yards, blah, 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 blah. He's real dismissive and kind of snarky towards the press. And then I thought the fans and the press have a right to be a little concerned about the rushing game. I don't know. What do you guys think about his quick to dismiss and be a little snarky when it comes to questioning the running game? Is he listening to our show? It sounds like it. Well, it came from another reporter asking about the run game, but he was quick to just kind of dismiss it, and he even went as far as to say, if this is going to be the line of questioning, I'm going to move on to another question. And Coach, I don't know who you think you are, what you're doing up there, but I think we have a right to ask about the questions or the running game, and just to kind of snub your nose at the question is kind of shitty in my opinion. So
yeah, it's not something you like to hear. I heard that on the ride home. He was pretty quick, pretty much he pulled like a Nick Nolte from Blue Chips, where kind of this line of questioning I'm going to take my ball and go home. Well, I mean, you're getting paid, dude, and part of your job is to answer questions, and that's what you're there for. So if somebody asks you a question you don't like, you still have to answer it. I'm not a fan of that, blowing it off like that. I think it's a legitimate question. The red zone's struggling. The run game struggles a little bit with the exception of Smallwood. I think you can at least give a half-assed answer. Don't just blow it off like that, like your run game is so good that you don't have to answer that because your run game is not that good.
He's always been snarky with the media, though. I don't think it's anything new or anything to be concerned about.
No. Well, let's take a second. We'll take a second, and we'll listen to it, and then we'll continue to talk about it.
Running game seems like it's still trying to get some traction. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Running game's trying to get some traction. 172 yards. Where were we at? Yeah, 172 yards. About 4 yards a carry. Just pretty average.
Are you happy with the state of the running game at this point?
I'm very happy with it. When teams try to take away the run, then and if we're going to do nothing, if we're going to just try to get some negatives right here after a victory, then I'm going to take some other questions. But there's going to be a whole bunch of things that we're going to go back and look on the film and say that we need to do a better job of.
Dan, overall, Skyler had 3 incompletions at halftime. He was 17 for 20. All 3 were on red zone throws. I know that Sheldon had the close call. Is there anything you can do differently in the red zone?
Well, gosh dang you guys, man! You get anytime anything's an issue, you guys just beat it like a dead horse. The first 2 we sputtered. Shelton dropped the ball. I can pinpoint play calls. There's red zone. It's hard to score. Our goal is 66%. We need to score in the red zone. Today we scored 66% touchdowns in the red zone. We were 6 for 6. 4 of them were touchdowns, and 2 of them, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's what it was. And 2 of them were field goals. So that's about where we're going to be. It's hard to score touchdowns in the red zone. That's everybody's goal. In the red zone, don't panic. Make them kick a field goal. If we're about 66%, it's going to be one of the national leaders. So, last year we're at 42%. I think we overall improved on it a little bit. Need to continue to get better at that, and it will be a point of focus. And please quit talking about it so it won't become an issue. Deal?
Thanks, Coach.
And then there you heard there at the end of it, it was they asked about red zone production. And he says, well, you guys sure can find something you guys just beat a dead horse. It's not a dead horse. You get into the red zone, it's 2 weeks in a row, you've kicked a lot of field goals. So, but he was, at the end of it, you could tell he was kind of light. He was a little light with it. There was a laugh, and he kind of got up and left. And even the members of the media laughed. But I don't know.
The red zone troubles went back to last season, though, too. That's nothing new for this year.
Yeah, I don't know. Just the way he was kind of dismissive and how dare you question me?
I love it.
Shit. So
I love it. I'm a Belichick guy.
yeah, well,
I love. There's mind games being played here. He's taking up for his guys. He knows that they struggled in the red zone, but to me, the media is a distraction for coaches and players. And I know there's a political side that you got to work with the media, but I think he's taking up for his guys, and I love it.
well, I being a member of the media, I don't like that shit. I hate whenever they try to dismiss your questioning. So.
Huggins has done it for years.
Well, Hugs is Hugs though. Yeah. He's never rude about it. He just kind of like. Well, I guess he is.
He can be rude.
He's so dry.
But he wins a lot of games, and I think that the frustration with Dana for most fans is the fact that he came in here and he won the Orange Bowl. Expectations are high. You're in year 5. The quarterback situation is still kind of up in the air, and that's supposed to be his specialty, quarterbacks and receivers. So I think a lot of people are frustrated that coming into year 5, he didn't have per se his guy. And then his answers can kind of irk people. And, people these days are easily offended by everything. And
I was offended.
Well, I mean, I think you kind of got to get over it, take it for what it's worth, and, just move to the next game.
Nah, actually, I didn't really give a shit. But I just thought it was kind of strange the way he was kind of snarky about it. And I know last week I gave John a lot of shit about wanting to talk about kickers and punters. But I do want to give Nick O'Toole some credit. Go ahead, John, because
It's hidden yardage.
Man,
I would say that he was not directly responsible, but had a hand in 2 of her touchdowns. I mean, he pinned one on the 1 and then another one on the 3.
Yeah.
I mean,
boom stash.
Yeah, 2 of them for 149 yards, right around 50 yards.
guys, our special teams look good. You guys are going to have to
Crum, should we give some hats off to Joey D?
yes, relax.
Joey D.
Is he coaching special? I thought he
Yes.
was coaching safeties.
He's
Joe DeForest coaches whatever in the hell he wants to coach, baby, because he's Joey D.
KJ
Shut
Dillon looked
Earning
good
that paycheck.
KJ Dillon looked good back there returning punts too.
Well, hats off to Nick O'Toole yesterday because he pinned him twice inside the 5. I don't like
boom stash.
I don't like to talk too much. I don't like to talk. I don't like when the punter comes on, but it's an important part of the game, and I thought he looked really good kicking the ball. And that beard is pretty boss. Did you guys check it out?
That's a sweet beard, dude. That beard's a thing of beauty. I'm kind of jealous because, I keep a light beard, but I can't grow my shit out like that. So I'm kind of jealous of that beard because it's badass. He's out there looking like Grizzly Adams as a punter. I just want to see him on the sideline with a cig hanging off his lip. That would complete the whole thing for me. The dude is just a badass. That beard's awesome. Just somebody hand him a Marlboro and let him dangle it from his lip over there while he's warming up.
It might catch fire.
It's a possibility. It's a possibility.
And get back, even on the video board, did you notice yesterday they now have the beard cam?
Yes.
They were searching the crowd for beard, and of course they had the Mountaineer up there doing his thing, and the first guy they go to is Boom Stash, or Boom Beard. Was what
the only thing you got to talk about on that video board is obvious. It's the scene from The Wolf of Wall Street. It gets no better.
Absolutely.
That's the reason I stayed in the stadium yesterday, because I wanted to see that video run again, because I was handed the wrong ticket on the way in. I had a Maryland ticket. When they scanned me, they said, "Oh, sorry, this is for a game 2 weeks from now."
Oh boy!
And luckily, the fine young lady working the gates, she was nice enough to let me in, as I am a season ticket holder and have been for going on 8, 9, 10 years now, somewhere in there. And she said, "Don't worry about it." I think she didn't want to throw me out because the crowd wasn't so heavy yesterday.
Yeah, it was. I think they only hit like 55, maybe.
So any asses you could put in the seats, I think she was going to allow it. You may have been able to just walk right in. I'm not really sure.
Well, hell, some girl walked right down on the field and stood beside me without a media credential yesterday. She didn't have any kind of pass.
She's probably related to Hugs and or some other member of a coaching staff.
Just her and her friend were down there hanging out. So I don't know. They were just letting people in. Hell, I think if you wanted to, you probably could have walked in. And
What did they look like? Were they attractive females?
One was good looking. Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, Lou, rate them. Give it to me.
They were both 8, 8.5.
That's why they're down there.
Yep.
That's
Takes
why
you a
they're
long
down
way.
there. Was Chief White or Stevie Slayton or anybody like that loose on the sidelines who may have snuck these females down for the
not
after
a lot
party
of
at Ben Willie's?
it was light alumni varsity club attendance yesterday. I saw my buddy Chris Pecan, but other than that, I think maybe Anthony Green was there, and I saw a couple of guys in the stands, but I couldn't. My vision's not that great, so I can't really pick.
About time to get glasses on you, old bastard.
Yeah, shit.
That vision's going. First the hair, then the vision. Man, you are fucked.
Well, one thing I didn't like laying my eyes on yesterday was those ugly ass uniforms. Listen to me. I've been a WVU fan my whole life. My first game was Syracuse 88. And I do not appreciate fucking with the uniform combinations, especially for Liberty and other games like that. Man, just wear the blue helmets, the blue jerseys, and the gold pants.
It was so much easier in the 90s.
If it's a big game,
combination.
yeah. If it's a big game, night game, maybe go all blue. But this whole gray pants, gold jersey, white helmet. I mean, and now they're messing. The thing that pisses me off is they keep messing with the logo. They keep taking our flying WV, and they want to bring back these throwback helmets all the time.
Oh, those are sharp, man.
I like
I don't mind
The
it.
throwback helmet is nice.
I don't mind it, but make sure it's for a reason. Like when they did it the first time, it was against Texas.
Yeah, it was a Texas
at
game.
night. But just rolling out with these crazy combinations for Liberty, man. I mean, Nike, stop it. Just
Recruits love that stuff, though.
Well, and maybe that's losing the hair, the eyes are going,
Yeah.
the old bastard in me coming out. But
Are you 16 and run a 4.5?
no.
And those uniforms aren't for you.
Well, there definitely aren't. And, and I don't mind the look. I don't mind the uniform. Okay. I just don't like the combinations, and especially for shitty games like Liberty. I mean, if it's a night game, maybe, break out all blue.
Let's talk about the gold helmet. Doesn't even necessarily match the gold that's on the pants or the jersey.
Well, the gold helmet to me needs to just go.
The gold helmet's pretty shitty. I would prefer going back to like the Don Nehlen days where you have like the blue helmet, the blue jersey, the gold pants. That's your standard.
The players are the ones that pick the uniform combos, and the kids love that shit. So
kids do love
they're
that.
the ones out there on the field. Let them pick the uniforms.
Kids
they
do
want to
love that. I mean, that's Michigan, for example, signed with Jumpman. You don't think there's a kid out there like Crum said that's running like a 4.3 and he's got an offer from everywhere, and then Harbaugh shows up, khaki clad, and drops that set of Jordans on him and says, "This is what you get to wear if you
Got
come to
some
Michigan."
amazing blue 11s.
Yeah,
I got to say no to that.
The Jordan shit, the Jordan brand works, Nike works. Kids go to Oregon because they have so many just ugly ass uniform combinations, and kids eat that shit up.
Maryland has them too. And I get it. But
You get that gear, man. You get that swag. Not only are you an elite athlete going to get a free ride, but you're getting some really nice gear, and you're the only people that get it. I mean, you got to be a part of the team to get it, and the kids love that stuff these days.
Well, okay, that's fine. We'll go with the combos, but let's stay away from the white helmet, gold jersey, white pants combo. That was
It's pretty ugly.
just about the worst we've ever looked. Probably the worst uniform combo yesterday in college football.
I don't mind all white. You run straight whites, stormtrooper look.
Yep, I love the all whites.
The
It's my favorite
stormtrooper.
combo.
We wore those, I think, in Oklahoma a couple years ago, and you go stormtrooper with it. I don't mind that.
There's a reason you're at Oklahoma. I mean, it's a big game. The Liberty.
The kids want to wear their shit. Man. Let them wear their shit.
I get it.
It is what it is. You can't really see it anyway. So
Well, this is when I know I'm coming an old bastard. I was checking out the coaches' uniforms. Did you guys see what the coaches were wearing yesterday?
I saw Dana decided to rock a visor.
Well, not necessarily because he always wears something different. But the rest of the coach, they had these gray Nike slacks on. That were actually you would have liked them, Cam. They reminded me of something that you would dig. But man, Quincy Wilson had on a pair of Boss Air Maxes yesterday. A matter of fact, I went up to him and said, "I need the number off of those shoes. I'm going to order them." I mean, they were badass, and I think that all the coaches were wearing these gray Air Max yesterday. So the coaches get the nice uniform award. The players thumbs down on those yesterday. Big enough.
Is that a thing now? We're doing nice uniform awards.
Yeah. Well, no, this week we were because they were so ugly.
Have you become a fashionista, Lou? Is this what it is now? You're about to be Yeezy. You're going to break into the fashion game as well.
Well, I mean,
before you start judging people's fashion, bro, we got to get you some glasses so you can see what the hell's going on. I mean, if you're having trouble seeing,
I couldn't even see 12 rows into the stands.
Let's outfit you with some glasses before you start judging what people are wearing.
All right. Next week, I will wear the specs to the game.
We'll get you a pair of long rims.
Yeah.
Like Rick Vaughn.
Yeah, I was going to say, I got Ricky Vaughn on me.
Skull and Crossbones, baby. Wild Thing Lou next week, ladies and gentlemen. Look for him.
I might even get the haircut.
No, don't do that. I got to get a haircut this week. It's bullshit. I didn't make it over the shop this week. Got a pretty good fro going right now. But
earlier this week, speaking of old school uniforms and games, they announced the West Virginia Pit, the Backyard Brawl, is back. And I don't know about you guys, but I was jacked when they made that announcement. I don't get excited about much shit as far as, but the announcement of the Backyard Brawl coming back is pretty big for me.
Eat shit pit.
There you go. And I tell you what, I mean, because I don't get too jacked up for Texas, Oklahoma, but you tell me that we're going to play Pittsburgh and I'm ready to cuss somebody.
Man, I hate their fans. Their fan base is so brutal and so disgusting.
Do they even have fans?
They might not now. By 2022, they may be out of the cellar and they might be able to put
see a bunch of yellow seats when I watch
their uniform combo is gold on gold, so they blend in with the seats at Heinz Field.
Heinz Field, man.
I'm excited about that shit, and I'm ready. I mean, if you look at our schedule coming up, we play Penn State, Pittsburgh, and Virginia Tech, and
along with Missouri, BYU, NC State.
Don't even care about that.
We got the traditional games.
I'm talking. We're back to
Power
playing
5 games.
We're back to playing Penn State, Virginia Tech, and Pittsburgh.
Disclaimer, ladies and gentlemen: if in attendance at Penn State, hide your children.
Oh man, you're going there?
Should I not have went there? No, I feel like I should have went there though.
I
feel like I had to go
it's
there.
Fair game. Personally.
Yeah, I mean, hide your children. What are we talking about?
Recommend us not getting into that.
Jared, the Subway guy, Penn State fan. I mean, what's he dabbling in? A little bit of child porn, and then you got
Jesus
what's
Christ.
his face? He's working camps and working the showers. I mean, let's just hide your children. Let's be safe. Let's be safe.
Leave your kids at home.
Be safe. Keep the cocaine out of the blue lot and keep your children away from Happy Valley. You heard it here first. I'm giving you fair warning, people.
Do not take your kids to Penn State.
I'm just worried about the public. That's all. You guys can think I'm being a dick, but Cam, I'm not.
It's all about the children, Brett.
It is. It's all about the kids. The kids are our future.
Have you guys? Have you ever been to Pittsburgh for any of the games?
Yes, I have. I love it.
I have indeed.
Which games you guys go to?
The 96 game, which I think was the last game at Pitt Stadium. That place was a shithole.
That's a dump. That's right in the middle of hell, isn't it?
Yes. Went to 2002 and 2004.
96, Famous Amos.
Shutout. Yeah, great win.
I feel like 2002, 2004 was my last time. I actually almost threw hands with a fraternity as I walked into the game. They make you run the gauntlet, and I was pretty well tuned up as far as it goes, being inebriated, and I wasn't paying attention when I made my move, and some guys had shot their mouth off the whole time, so I finished my last beer, proceeded to crush my can, and hit a man in the face with it. And then when I turned to see where my boys were, they'd all went in the gate except for Scotty Barr. He came back and was ready to throw hands with me. And luckily there was some security to break that up because we may have got stomped out. It was like 15-2. And like I said, I was in the moment. The guy said some things, some stuff about your mother, your sister, and relations and the hillbilly type thing. I decided it'd be best for me to crush my beer can, hit him in the face, and then stand there and say, what do you want to do now, asshole? And then I turned and saw all my boys were in the gate except for Scott. So, disclaimer there, if you're going to do something like that, make sure your boys are there so you don't get just beat down right before the gate. Jeez. You got to make sure that your boys are behind you. Because once they were in, there was no coming out for them to help me. Luckily, my man Scott Barr is always ready to throw fish for the Pitt fan, and much appreciated you having my back, Scotty. That's why you're my best buddy.
Well, I'm excited that game is back, and credit the athletic department, Shane Lyons, for getting that done because that was boss. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break halfway through the show, but before we do that, I'm going to announce this week's Bearwood Company Fan of the Week. Mr. Cole Adams from Charleston, you are our Bearwood Company Fan of the Week. So keep your eyes peeled in the mailbox. You'll be receiving a sweet koozie, and your name will also be entered to win the grand prize, which we'll give away in the last show from our friends at Bearwood Company.
That beer's for you, Cole.
And make sure you go to our Facebook page and check out the picture that we post for the winner, because somebody got caught off guard in that one.
Sneak attack in the stands. How dare you?
All right, we'll be right back.
All right. I can't hear anything in these.
Yeah, I don't hear anything either.
Do you love West Virginia? Check out Home Furnishings by Bearwood Company. Log into bearwoodcompany.com and put West Virginia pride in your decorating design. The Bearwood Company, always home. For the best in vintage advertising signs, World War II collectibles, collectible vinyl records, and coins, check out our friends at Red Fox Antiques and Collectibles in Scott Depot, right off I-64, exit 40. This isn't your grandma's antique shop. This is a mantique shop. For more information, check them out on Facebook or give them a call, 304-757-9589. The Dell Sparks Collection. Dell's documented WVU sports for over 30 years and features the greatest moments in Mountaineer history. Check out his magic moments from Major Harris, Pat White, Tavon Austin, and so many more. For all of your favorite Mountaineer moments printed and framed, visit dellsparks.com or give him a call, 304-296-6004. The Griffith Law Center, PLLC, a Charleston-based law firm servicing the entire state of West Virginia and parts of southern Kentucky, specializing in serious injuries, wrongful death, and wrongful termination. The Griffith Law Center. Now you have a friend that's a lawyer. Call today for a free consultation at 304-345-8999 or give them a visit on the web at protectingwv.com. For all of your web and graphic design, go with the best. Go with our friends at Loggerhead Designs. They're true graphic professionals. Anything from business cards to high-end websites. They can handle it all. The next time you need your ads to really pop, head over to loggerheaddesigns.com or call 910-541-0143. All right, welcome back in, everybody, to Section 304. Quick little break there. Once again, our Bearwood Company fan of the week, Cole Adams. And now we're going to talk running backs, and we're joined by one of my all-time favorite running backs, Mr. Robert Walker's on the phone with us. Good morning, Robert.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Doing good, my friend. Have you had an opportunity to take in the Mountaineers yet this year?
Yeah, I watched a couple of their games, and I'm very impressed with them.
What, our consensus so far has been, and we're enjoying some of the aspects of the running game. Our consensus has been we're a little disappointed with Russell Shell. And maybe we're wrong on some things. We're kind of thinking this kid is dancing a little too much in the backfield and like to see him go north-south a little more. Are you seeing that, or are we way off base when we say something like that?
No, I don't think he's off base. I think he's done a little bit of dancing, but I think he's just trying to find a hole and get comfortable with the offense. Right. Trying to make big plays, and he should just settle down and just play football. The things that got him there.
What so far? What are your thoughts on the group of tailbacks, and what have you thought really stood out?
I mean the tailback, right? The big one that impressed me is the Smallwood kid. He's averaging about 92 yards, 90-something yards a game.
Yes.
Seems like he has vision and the speed. I mean, he's capable of doing some great things, but it's just will he do it? But I think he's highly capable of doing some good things.
Well, I just wanted to make sure we weren't too far off base, because we've been really critical, and we're not trying to slag on the kid, but we've just we've been critical on Shell's East-West game.
Hey, Robert, this is Matt here, man. I was wondering, sometimes when you have so many backs to go to, is it sometimes better to just have one or two guys you can rely on in the backfield, whereas West Virginia now you're looking at 2, 3, 4 guys they have back there, and it's kind of a running back by committee. Is that sometimes more troubling than if you just had one guy to go to get the bulk of your carries?
I'm the type of guy who's just like one or two running backs. Because I think, for one, you need to let the running back run the ball and get the feel of the game to figure out what he needs to do, the type of plays he got to play, he needs to make, and his instincts let him kick in. And you don't get that when you know someone is breathing down your back every second of the game waiting to come in. And so I think it messes up a running back a lot of times. It takes them out of their groove. So I'm not just a fan of just one or two backs, to be honest with you.
And with the situation with Wendell and Shell right now, it seems like Wendell these first two games has really been putting up good numbers and looking good. But do you feel like he kind of never really gets to get in the flow because they're alternating him and Russell out so much and so often, and Wendell's getting you into the red zone but not always getting to finish the drive off? Do you think it'd be better if maybe Dana let Wendell go until Wendell asked for, a blow or a quick timeout and a little break?
I mean, that's the way that I see it. But, you got to put coach. I mean, he's a great coach. I mean, he's seeing some things that we're probably not seeing just watching a game on TV. I mean, he sees the kid in practice. He sees the game preparation. And, I don't want to take nothing away from the coach because, I just feel like he's making the best decision. But at the same time, I like to see a kid get the opportunity to just stay in there and be confident that he's going to be on there. Let him make the mistakes. Let him mess up. But ultimately, you're going to put the best person out there on the field.
Speaking of great coaches, you were able to play for the Hall of Famer, Coach Don Nehlen. Can you talk a little bit about your time at West Virginia, and what are some of your fond memories of your time there in Morgantown?
I mean, you can't say nothing but great things about Coach Nehlen. I mean, one, he took a kid from Huntington, West Virginia, and basically, saved his life and changed his life. Since I've been there, his life's never been the same. So I owe it all to Coach Nehlen. But, one of my fondest memories, is the run, what the people say. I can still remember getting in the huddle and Coach Nehlen calling my number and thinking to myself, man, I just have to follow Rodney Willard's butt into the end zone with guys like Mike was there, Low Styles, Rich Brown, and I knew they would do their job, and I was just glad to have the opportunity to do mine. And when he handed the ball, it all went in slow motion. And the rest from there, the rest is history.
Well, speaking of history, you guys made history in '93. I know we've got a lot of questions about that season. One thing that stands out to me about that season was that team really flew under the radar early in the season, and we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Robert, this is John. How does a team start out under the radar and improve and by the end of the year, be in the top 5, potentially competing for a national championship? Because with this team, there's potential there. How does a team stay on track and continue to improve?
I hate to say it, but you gotta tune out the outside noise, and you got a group of guys that you practice with, that you sweat, and you have tears with, and you do it all together, and you gotta have belief that y'all can get it done. And it can't be no weak links. It can't be in. And when you start believing, and you see the person beside you working as hard as he can, and you giving it 100%, and that's how you get it done and make great things happen.
Hey Robert, this is Cam here. Since Pitt's back on the schedule, do you have any stories about Pitt that you'd like to share?
Say it again, I'm sorry.
We got Pitt back on the schedule. Is there any stories about Pitt that you would like to share with us?
Oh man, I'm so excited about Pitt. Not really no stories. That's one of the greatest rivalries in history, other than the Duke and North Carolina game. So I'm glad that we got it back on the schedule, because the last time we had a chance for a national championship game, and Pitt basically took it away from, and that left a bad taste in my mouth. And I'm glad we get to some revenge on that, and revenge for that.
Well, since you mentioned revenge, Robert, this is John again. I was going to say one of my favorite memories from '93. Obviously the Miami and BC games are great, but when we kicked the shit out of Syracuse, 43-0, what was the team's mindset before that? Because before the season started, I was a kid, but I remember thinking we have to beat Syracuse because of the year before the fight.
Yeah, the fight the year before.
Well, the fight was just the fight. So anytime you get in a situation like that, you can't wait till the next year to try to get them back. and do whatever it takes. And just Coach Nillen, for one, calling my number at the 1 or 2 yard line and me having that drive and just point and look at that scoreboard. I mean, that meant a lot for us and the team. I mean, and that's just what I'm talking. It gets you going. I mean, and some things like that you'll never forget.
I haven't forgotten your 93-yard touchdown run. That was great.
Took it to the house. Well, and that's one thing about that season. And I was telling somebody the other day, we were talking about the BC game. And if I remember correctly, Coach Nealon talked a lot about that team being sick. It seemed like you guys had really been flu bitten. The flu bug had kind of moved in, and we probably didn't deserve to win that game. But what do you remember about being at BC that year, and just the way that game kind of ended up?
Well, I mean, people were sick, but like Coach Nealon would also say that. I mean, once you get to the point where we were at, is no excuses. So, I mean, it takes, if you out there on the field, you got to give 100%. So, with no excuses. So, but that's what great teams do. They find ways to get it done. They reach deep inside and just pull whatever they can pull out. They pull it out to get the job done, and that's what we did that day.
A lot of teams have guys that are always the clowns and the wild guys on the team. Who were the wild guys on that 93 team that really were just kind of out there and fun to be around?
Well, for one, it's going to be Aaron Beasley. He's definitely a goofball, always. I mean, he still is. I mean, he's just a great guy. But Beasley and you had Mike Collins, but I went to high school with Mike.
Right.
So I just knew how he was always. And Mike Logan. But if I had to say, I mean, just thinking about it, if I had to put one person I would say was the clown of it was Darren Studstill, the quarterback.
Yeah.
It was definitely Darren.
Well, that was I'll tell you what, man, that was a season to remember. I was a senior in high school, and that was something else. I remember listening to that game on the radio. I had to work that day, the BC game. And I just thought it was – and if you think about it, for me as a kid, 88 was undefeated, 93 was undefeated. I expected it to come around every 4 years. That's all. I'd kind of grown accustomed to it. But a lot of great memories from that season, and it was something else, man, something else. But we appreciate you taking time to come on and talk a little bit about the running backs and kind of make sure we weren't – well, I wanted to make sure we weren't being too hard on the kid. But we've been on the show really wanting him to go north-south. And you were one of the all-time great north-south runners, so we thought we'd get your perspective, and we appreciate you coming on.
Well, thanks for the opportunity to come on this show, man. Thanks a lot.
Not a problem. I'll be in touch, Robert, and we'll have to get you back to Charleston real soon.
Oh, I'll be there. Thanks a lot.
All right, my friend. I'll see you soon. Robert Walker, everybody, from we had called him. He's down in North Carolina now, and he's joined us. And at this point in the show, we're going to pass it over to Diddy. Diddy?
Is it time?
It's time, man.
The beer of the week this week. I never thought I'd be handing it to this guy, but it's going to go to Skylar Howard. Guy's really proving me wrong. Last night he goes, 21-26, 263 and 3 scores, rushes for another 75 yards. Skylar Howard, congratulations, brother. This beer's for you. It's the beer of the week, and let's see some more of it against Maryland.
I really think, and like I had said in last week's show, you see the offensive progression from week 1 to week 2. And I really think that he took a lot of good steps from week 1, week 2. Red zone production was a little down, but I can't go with him on that one. Sheldon Gibson drops that ball in the end zone. I can't blame him. So Skylar Howard has grown up on us in 2 weeks.
9 receivers he had catch the ball. Spreading the love. Da'Keel Shorts had a monster game yesterday, I think, coming out of the slot. I thought that guy performed really well. He's close to getting the beer of the week. But just to show you guys I'm not anti-Skyho, we'll give this one to Skylar Howard. I respect the game.
The key number for me is no turnovers.
You got it, man.
And he didn't get greedy. You would think after hitting Gibson and Durant week 1 on some bombs, you might get greedy and try to take some shots. But Liberty did cover 2 the whole game. He just took what they gave him. And that you can't ask for much more from a quarterback.
All right. So Diddy's beer of the week goes to Skylar Howard. Well, this week, talking outside of football, but it's football related. There was a little bit of a storm on the internet. If you guys saw the week before, our West Virginia's own Brad Paisley released a great new single called Country Nation. And in the video, he was wearing a Tennessee and a West Virginia split jersey. And that kind of got some people riled up. So we've got his father, Mr. Doug Paisley's on the phone with us. Doug, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, Doug. How are you this morning?
I'm good. I'm tired. I just got back from that Country Nation tour trip this week, which took us to Austin, Waco, and Arkansas.
It's a pretty fun life you're living there, it sounds like, huh?
Doug, you're on.
Well, I did get to go to the first half of the Arkansas game yesterday, and actually was a guest of John Matsko, who was at the university for quite a while, and at West Virginia, and is now working for the University of Arkansas.
Well, that wasn't a good day for them down there, that's for sure. But Doug,
no, but it wasn't, and Brad had to play the post game concert for them, right after the game. So, needless to say, the crowd was a little bit down for a while, but they really got into it. It's one of those things. How many times have we Mountaineers been down after a game?
Well, and we talked a little bit earlier this week, Doug, and one of the things that you were kind of upset about, and even Brad was upset about. Talk and tell us and tell the listeners and the fans here in West Virginia the concept behind the split jersey. I mean, I know the reason why he's doing it, but people were upset about it. Can you just tell us a little bit about the jersey and Brad's perspective on how that came about?
Sure. Well, let me start off first by saying, of course, that we are, the most loyal Mountaineers as far as that type of thing goes. And Brad wrote the song, and of course, the premise of the song is that we as a country nation embrace, in the fall, college football. And as part of that, he wanted to, make it relate to a lot of the different universities. Everyone has their own loyalties, and we have ours with West Virginia. So when he started the song, of course, if you look at the words to the song, and you can go, on his website, you can go to YouTube, and you can see the video that he did and so forth, using all the mascots, including our Mountaineer, who had a prominent role in there. The song starts out and it says, "Mountaineers, volunteers." Of course, that rhymes, and it makes for a good segue into the next part of the song. Doing that, his thought process was, okay, so I'm going to go to all these universities, and we're going to do these free pop-up concerts, not necessarily on game day. Like Virginia Tech, it was the day before. At Waco, it was the day before. Yesterday, it was after the game. So it just it's a matter of when it fits for that particular venue. So he decided, what would really be cool would every show that he did, he would have on a Mountaineer shirt split down the middle, number 15 for the year 15, and then, of course, the volunteer shirt, the shirt for the Baylor Bears, the shirt for the Arkansas Hogs, so forth. So, he was bringing the West Virginia blue and gold to all of those venues, as well as, endearing himself to them, and as a West Virginian, saying, okay, hey, we can be a Mountaineer volunteer for this particular day. We're supporting you, but we aren't leaving behind our blue and gold, our Mountaineers. So having said that, there were some naysayers to this that felt that was turning the coat on West Virginia, and some of them, of course, this shirt. And it's everyone's own likes and dislikes. I mean, we're not upset because someone didn't like that idea. It was just there was some nasty going on with regard to, Brad himself. And I know 90% of West Virginians know that we're Mountaineers. They know that Brad is true blue in that nature. It just, we got over it quickly. We had some nice replies to it. And having said that, it's all good. It's all about West Virginia. It's all about college football.
Hey, Doug, this is Matt here. I don't know how anybody can really question a guy whose guitar has a flying WV on it that he plays on stage and has shown off, numerous times. I don't see how this is a question. I think it's just one of those things where, you kind of don't want to believe it, but I think people today just look for something to be mad about. Is that kind of how
they do? Yeah, they do to a certain extent, and we don't want to say that Brad or I or our family or friends or other Mountaineers, and we have tons of people at the university that we're good friends with, and we don't want to say that we were upset at all. We just kind of wondered in the back of our mind, why in the world would some people question that? And listen, it's just like your taste in music. Some people like rap, some people like rock, some people like country, blues, whatever. Everyone is entitled to all of that. And you may not like Brad's music, and that's fine. That's all well and good. I got in Brad's car last night with him when we got back from this trip, and he had a jazz station on, because, music is music, and sometimes, you have a tendency to get some great ideas from other genres, when you're thinking about writing a song. So those kind of things all come into play. But, as far as the West Virginia aspect of it, I want to say this. A lot of people question why he didn't do West Virginia as one of these free pop-up concerts. And the answer to that is we just did, the Coliseum for 2 shows, and granted they were paid tickets, but that's the way it was set up with the promoter. We will be back at some future time to do one of these concerts at West Virginia, but looking at the schedule, looking at the way that it would fit in with, the Mountaineer schedule and the availability of an area to do it, it has to be an area. We had 32,000 people at Virginia Tech. We had about 14,000 last night following the game, and could have had more, but the area didn't hold that much. Now, University of Texas at Austin, we had a smaller crowd because it was held in a location that was not accessible to the students,
right?
And that was an IMG choice. IMG is one of the co-sponsors of this, and of course, West Virginia is an IMG school now, so we'll be there at some particular time to do this. So people just have to be patient and understand the process, which you guys on radio know isn't always the easiest process. Sometimes the path of least resistance works out better than trying to plug it into a hole that it won't fit into.
Right. And we've had, Doug, when you were here in Charleston last year, we had a conversation about Mountaineer Field. Share with our listeners a little bit about what happened a few years back. There was a lot of talk about Brad playing inside of Mountaineer Field. Can you talk a little bit about the conversations and the way that kind of went down and why that didn't come about?
Yeah, it was a situation that, if you recall at that time, in fact, ironically, it was going to be the weekend before the Liberty game, which would have been the home opener, and there was a little bit of a mix-up with regard to us being able to use the field and tie the field up, because you can imagine bringing in a huge stage into Mountaineer Field, utilizing just the tunnel, or tunnels, and actually only one tunnel would really have worked for some of the parts of the stage, would have meant that the setup and teardown would have happened over a 4-day period rather than just a night before, night after type of thing. So, Coach Stewart at that time was more than willing to give up a practice day on the field, but facilities just had a difference of opinion with regard to how it would work. So by the time at that time we had an interim president, and we had a little bit of a lot of changes going on. So it just ended up not working for that particular time. And since that time we've looked, that would have been a great weekend. It was the weekend that the students were coming to campus, the families were coming with the students, and that would have been huge. We'll find another day to do that. You know, I've talked back with President Clement. He wanted to make it happen after he got there, and President Dee wants to make it happen. For Steve Douglas and the Alumni Association and Kevin, the folks over there, they want to make it happen. It'll happen. It's just putting it all together, and maybe the timing has to be right for everyone.
Hey, Doug, this is Matt again. How exciting is it for Brad to be able to come back to his home state and put on a big show and, you know, kind of be here with, I guess it's kind of like a family affair. You know, you're from West Virginia. Everybody here, it's kind of like family, and everybody knows that. How exciting is that for you guys to get to come back and see people enjoy him?
It's a dual-edged sword. It's totally exciting. He really loves to do it. It's a lot of work because we know so many people. Anthony can tell you, we had to jump through hoops to make some things happen where I could even get Anthony in, you know, to do a presser or to do an interview there, with Brad because, you know, Brad's not just able to do certain things because there are certain radio stations, you know, that are affiliates and that are reporting stations. And so Sony Music and, you know, that type of thing, they sometimes want us to focus on the stations that are their main reporters. And sometimes we have to, you know, make some decisions that aren't as easy as what people would think they would be, you know, to do interviews and to do things like that. But as far as coming back and playing, you know, we did that a couple of times in Wheeling. We did it at those benefit concerts for flood relief and a couple other things. The Charleston show, of course, that's a Live Nation venue type of show that we did there. But the Coliseum, we were able to do that for 2 days. That was something that Brad chose to do. Wanted to get in there and do that, and of course we tried to keep our Brad ticket prices were the lowest there at Mountaineer Field of any artist that would come in there, and we just tried to make sure that we can accommodate, you know, everyone's wishes and work with we had to build I called it the director's set. We had to build a stage in there that would hold the huge video board at the back of the stage because we couldn't hang that, you know, from the ceiling anymore.
Well, you know, Doug, I definitely appreciate, and I think the majority of people here in West Virginia appreciate Brad representing West Virginia University, and we just love watching him get out there and represent the state of West Virginia the way he does. And I want to take a second and say thank you to you for coming on the show. And I know that was this week has been a little bit trying, and I know when you see that stuff on the internet and when you get out and you get on the road and you represent your state the way you do, it does probably hurt your feelings a little bit when people want to bash and smash on you a little bit for something that's kind of trivial. But
it's all good. It's one great thing about Mountaineer fans. You know, they can argue and discuss the game and whether the coach's call was right, whether or not the quarterback or the tight end or whoever did the right thing. But, you know, we might discuss yesterday's game today, but, you know, on Monday or Tuesday, we're looking forward to the next game, and everybody's, you know, going to come together as Mountaineer fans. And that's the way Brad goes. We want to try to get over to a game this year, you know, once the schedule eases up a little bit. So, we'll see what we do. We made 2 games last year. We made the TCU game and went to Texas for the Texas game. That was a lot of fun. The only problem was Texas played their best game and we played one of our worst. So, unfortunately that one didn't turn out well for us, but, we'll be back and, we look forward to it and we're going to continue to wear the blue and gold. And let me say this, when a fan, when they see some picture of Brad with a Baylor shirt on or an Arkansas shirt on or something like that, just know that we're representing West Virginia there, in the same way. He talked last night at Arkansas. He did not have an Arkansas split jersey. He wore one of their type of jerseys, and the first thing that he said was, you know, I have to tell you guys, you know, I'm a blue and gold guy, so this red and white just, you know, it's hard for me, but, you know, and then he started the suey thing with the Go Hogs. So, you know, you just have to realize all these people have their own loyalties, and we have to respect that and kind of, you know, help them out with their program.
One last question before we let you go. We are a Mountaineer football show. We just like to get your prediction on the season for the Mountaineers.
Well, you know, Brad and I were talking about that yesterday. He had to fly back in because he had to come back to do some CMA work. And when he flew in, he asked me what the score was, and by that time the game was over. And I said, you know, we won. I said we were ahead. I think we were shutting it out. I keyboarded, so I can watch it, but I was keeping up with it, you know, on an app. And then I guess, you know, when they put second and third teams in, you know, they scored a few, which is fine. I really think that we're the sleeper in the Big 12. And I had a friend of mine who actually works at Baylor tell me that Baylor is actually more worried about West Virginia this year than anybody else in the conference. Of course, we beat them last year and kept them out of the national championship. So, you know, they're going to be gunning for us at Waco. And they have a beautiful new stadium. And so it's tough to play down there. But I think we'll do fine. If you want a number prediction from me, you're not going to get it, because if I give you a good one, I'll jinx us. If I give you a bad one, everyone will be mad at me. But I think we're going to be competitive in every game. How's that for shuffle?
Well, and hopefully we beat Texas. That way Brent can't give you too much trash or too many problems. You got to be able to get to him this year.
Brent lives in Austin, but trust me when I tell you, he's a Mountaineer first and Longhorn second.
Well, good.
So.
I thought maybe they may have converted him when he got down into Austin.
Nah.
All right, Doug. Well, thank you for coming on. I'll be in touch soon, and I'm going to try to get out and catch you guys on the road again. And tell Brad, thank you for representing the state of West Virginia the way he does. We appreciate it.
Not a problem. Go Mountaineers.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Doug Paisley, the father of country superstar Brad Paisley. And it's good to hear his perspective of kind of the internet storm this week. And I don't know why people flip out about that stuff.
If you've ever been to a concert at a college place, I remember Aaron Lewis from Stained that did a Fall Fest. He came out in a Rasheed Marshall jersey. Come on, that guy's
Shania Twain. When she was
Taylor
here,
Swift's
she had on
It's just where you're at. It's what you do. You pay respect to the place you're at by wearing their gear. It's not that huge of a deal. And the fact that he keeps it split with a West Virginia on one side, I think it's a thing of beauty.
He referenced the '89 Fiesta Bowl, Notre Dame beating us when he picked against Notre Dame. So anybody questioning his fandom or whatever, they're crazy.
Well, we've got a open week and another open beer here on the show. But we have an open week next week, which, I don't know, I think that's a little early, but it is what it is. But
we'll find something to talk about.
Yeah, we're going to put together a good show for next week. I will tell the listeners we are going to have an official Section 304 podcast tailgate party. Go to the Facebook page, follow everything on Twitter. We're going to post like a little map of where it's going to be. It's going to be in the blue lot, very easy to find. We want you guys all to stop by, pick up a koozie, have a beer, get you some food. But yes, we will.
Maybe I shotgun a couple of beers with you. I'll be coming off a down week where we don't really have a game, so maybe I'll relax next week, play some golf, and I'll be in rare shotgunning form, and we can just get after it. I mean, let's get loose.
Yeah, it's going to be. Bring your beers. We'll have some beers. We'll get a little loose over there. And but
Cam has 3 bottles of exceptional wine he's had on ice since he's found out about this party, so he's ready to uncork his vinos and just really shake it up with you guys. Maybe he'll talk classical music with you. Maybe he'll talk Star Wars. We don't know what he's going to talk about.
I do like Star Wars.
This is not Boston College, but we will be having a tailgate party, and we want you guys all to swing by.
If Lou has his new glasses by then, you guys be sure to tell him that he looks good in them. That way he wears them, because, Lou, your vision is the most important thing to us all.
I will be looking for some Ricky Bonds for the week. But we will be back next week. We're going to put together a good show for you guys, even in an off week. And
you know what we should do? Let's get them to send in some questions. People want to ask, talk about, whatever. Maybe email them. Maybe send them into the email for the off week. That'll give us a little something to dive into.
There you go. Good idea. Diddy's thinking.
I like it. I'm always thinking ahead.
Tweet us some questions. Email us some questions at section304wv@gmail.com. We'll go through those questions next week. And we will be back with a good show next week. Thank you guys for listening.
Keep your beers cold, drink them safe, and let's go G-Men tonight.
The producer for Section 304 is Steve Adams for SAA Productions. SAA Productions specializes in affordable, small-scale audio and video projects. Wanting to jump on the podcast bandwagon? Call 304-299-1234. That's 304-299-1234. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook and on Twitter.